So my agency currently sends over 10,000 cold emails and outreaches every single week across all of the clients that we have. And this means that I've been able to test a lot of stuff, find out a lot of things that don't work and a lot of things that do work. And I'm going to share some of the best things that work, some of the cheat codes that I have, which literally require like no effort to implement, and they will help you to get a lot more meetings. So by watching this video, you are literally getting the benefit and the experience of being able to run a multi-six-figure agency without actually having to run one. So the value on this is going to be pretty high if you watch this one all the way through. But if you're not familiar with me, my name's Ben Lister. I help agency owners, business owners by documenting all my learnings on this YouTube channel, which currently help me to make about multi-six figures per year. And so the first thing I want to talk about is actually the subject line when you go and send out emails. Oftentimes you might receive emails that say like question for John or, quick question, John, or something like that, right? This one's getting a little bit old now. And I think a lot of people have run it in the past. But one thing that we have been experimenting with that has gone pretty well is if you have a lowercase subject line and you put something in there which it's quite ambiguous. And so one that we like at the moment is if you put a recommendation or a referral, right? So if you're reaching out to home improvement businesses and you're trying to get them more leads, you might say something like lead platform recommendation, all in lowercase. And so someone might click on this and instantly think like, who is this? This is a person that I don't know. It's a lowercase one. It sounds pretty informal. So they'll click on it thinking it's someone that they know. And obviously then you can give the recommendation, which is going to be your business, right? And so you can just go through your usual cold email script and say, hey, I've got a recommendation for you. This is what we do. I think it would be a good fit or something like that, right? And so this is something that we've tried in the past and it's worked pretty well. We've had open rates go up slightly from this, but the main thing with this is actually the reply rate. People that actually open this and they see a recommendation and then they go and, respond to this, right? So this one works pretty well. The next thing is to focus on personalization over quantity. This is something that we've seen time and time again, and it's one of the first things that I actually found out when I was, really just starting to send at the kind of volume that we do. If we ever have a campaign and we think, we could like really scale this up if we just make the emails or the outreach just a little bit worse, right? If we're going to send a voice note through social media, for example, we're really tempted sometimes, and we have been tempted to, instead of sending them manually, just record one voice note and just send it out like as many times as we can. But the issue with this is people very quickly realize that it is automated and it isn't personalized. And a lot of the benefit that you get from campaigns, a lot of the results that you get is from having that personalization there, that personal touch. And so if you remove that, even if you scale this up by 5x, 10x, 20x, very rarely are you going to actually see the kind of results that you would do if you just personalized every single one. So even though the volume is going to be so much smaller, then it's still actually worth it, because we've seen this many times where if we send, a personalized Loom, for example, personalized voice note through social media, something which requires a lot of personalization. Maybe we're talking specifically about the company's Google reviews, or we've pulled a Google review and we're going to talk specifically about something that's on their Google reviews or their website. This is going to take a lot more effort, but the results are always, always, always worth it compared to just, sending the same email to 50,000 people. And obviously there is ways to make it where you can basically personalize something which is automated. This requires a little bit of skill, a little bit of knowledge on how to do this. It's whole of a video in its own. But if you can figure out a way to do this, then that's kind of the keys to the castle. That's kind of like the big trick. And when you can do that, obviously this is when you really start to unlock pretty crazy numbers like we do in our agency. The next little cheat code is to basically just do infinite follow-ups. Now, I don't mean this literally to just send like so many emails in an email chain, but you can make someone feel like you are going to do that by changing what you put in your last email. So I see this all the time. People put something along the lines of, oh, hey, John, this is my last email now. This is your last chance to respond to me, right? But if John's emailed you the first 3 times, I don't think he's going to respond to you on the 4th time. The chance that he is going to be an ever increasingly smaller amount that he's going to actually respond, right? Because he's probably seen the first email. He probably saw your offer. He probably heard what you have to say. He's probably not going to respond to the 4th one, right? After you just send another message saying, hey, John, have you seen this? But if you send something like that, he's going to instantly think, this person now, if I just ignore them, I'm never going to hear from them again. So this is exactly what I'm going to do. So if you say, John, this is your last chance to respond to me, he's thinking, fantastic, this person is never going to email me ever again. I'll just ignore this one. Maybe I'll even delete it. I won't even open this email in the first place. And so if this happens, of course, people are not going to respond to you. But if you do it the opposite direction and you say something along the lines of, John, I'm going to keep following up with you until you're interested. I'm not going to give up on you, even if it is your last email. And obviously you shouldn't just keep following up, for unlimited amount of times, because that's probably going to be really bad for your email deliverability. But if you tell them that you're going to keep following up, even though you're not, this person might just think, you know what, I'm going to have to respond to this person just to get them to go away, just to get them to actually stop emailing me, because this person's never going to stop. And so if you do this, a lot of the responses you're going to get are not going to be positive. They're not going to be, amazing emails that you're going to get people just queuing up to buy from you. But you will get some people who say, you know what, like they ask a question. They might say, like let me hear you out, or they might just do something which isn't entirely negative. And then your foot's in the door. Then you can work the lead. Then you can try to get them on a call. Then you actually have a conversation going, right? And this is really the main thing about doing outreach or email or anything like this. And so if you do this, we've done this many times before, we do it for a lot of our campaigns, you'll have a lot of success and a lot of people that respond on that last email that you send or the last message that you send. And so the next one is a cheat code, which probably isn't really a cheat code as such because it requires a bit more effort, but this is a hill that I'm going to die on, and I say this all the time, but you should manually source your leads. Never in a million years should you be looking to scrape leads if you have the option to manually source them. If you're looking for a level of personalization to your emails, every single one of those leads needs to be manually sourced. Now, I'm not saying you need to do, a whole essay worth of research on these guys before you go and send them an email. You just need to find this email manually. You need to use a software where you can go and actually click on the person's website, open it up, something like Snob.io, something like Find Email, something like that. And you can find this person's email who you're actually looking for. You can go to the business owner. And if you can do this and you can go through Facebook groups and different directories and find these companies and then land on their website and then go and find their email, the vast majority of these guys are very, very rarely going to be getting cold emailed or cold messaged, because these guys are kind of like in the depths of, whatever niche you're in, right? They don't appear on D7 Lead Finder on the first page. They don't appear when, you just search for remodel in Facebook groups, right? In the first group. These guys are going to be ones who just, for some reason, just aren't out there in the public all that much compared to some other guys. And so when you email them, it's almost like you have a blue ocean. It's almost like there's just no competition there because no one's actually reaching out to them. And so the outreach methods and the strategies you're using are going to be way more receptive on these people simply because they haven't seen that many outreach methods before. And so you can pay a virtual assistant to do this for like 10 cents per lead. If you do 100 of these per day, you're talking $10 per day, and your results might quite literally go like 3 or 4 times better. And we've used scraped data in the past, and we have for some campaigns. We still do. It still has its place sometimes, but there's a night and day difference between manually sourcing the leads and actually then going and scraping them and just using the same leads that everyone else is doing. And so if you make this change, if you're currently going from scraping and you go to manual, I promise you the results you're going to get is going to be crazy. And the fifth and final cheat code that I have is to just call your leads when they respond to you. If you send them a social media message and they respond to you, they're interested in your offer, if they respond to your cold email, whatever it may be, just go on their website and find their phone number, pick up the phone and just speak to them and say, hey, I want to talk to you about this. Do you have any questions? Or if they ask you a question, pick up the phone, try to speak to them, and then you basically answer the question on the phone and you say, look, now that's answered. Why don't we jump on a call? This works like so often. This works like 80% of the time where you get someone that's replied to you, as long as the reply that they've sent to you, the email or the message they've sent to you is somewhat positive, you can so easily turn that into an appointment, because when they have someone on the phone, it's much more of a personal touch. It's more of a human touch. Whereas when you're on an email or a social media, people don't really like it. And if you are, for example, in a home service niche, if you are dealing with real estate agents, if you're dealing with gyms, for example, these are businesses that exist in the real world, in the physical world. And so if you're taking them away from that physical world by emailing them, by basically, being on social media, they aren't going to like that. Whereas if you call them, you have a 45-second phone call and then it's done and dusted, you booked them a call, that's going to be so much easier than if this email chain goes on for the next 5 days. It takes 2 or 3 days for them to respond. They don't really want to do it. They see the notification and they might open it and just think, I'm not going to bother. Then you've got to follow up with them and you're sort of like pestering them at this point. But if you just pick up the phone and you speak to them, they have to respond to you. It has to be a conversation, and it's a human conversation. It doesn't require actually that much effort. You can have so much back and forth on a phone call compared to what you can on an email or a social media message. So if you pick up the phone and you speak to these guys, you're going to book a lot of meetings and it's probably going to work pretty well for you. So those are the 5 cheat codes that I have. If you are looking for more clients for your agency, more meetings, more bookings, first link in the description. It's not some email opt-in. There's no sign up or anything like that. It's literally just a video similar to this one of me talking about my company, what we do, how we've done this many times before, and why it works so well. But yeah, you don't have to click it, of course. I don't really care if you do or not. I'm still going to record 3 videos a week, no matter what. So, but yeah, if you like the video, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.